Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. Adaptable approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.
All right, everybody, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This is episode 0x5A. It's the 91st episode. And we'll do a bunch of updates, and we have our guests on pretty soon. That was the new commercial for Den. So if you saw it, good. We'll have it out on YouTube. We'll play it at the end, I think, if I'm correct. So you can see it again. So first update, interruptions caused by Ethereum hard fork have been resolved. We apologize for that. We had a couple of external public metric systems that were having issues. First of all, because of our nodes upgrading, and then immediately after, we actually had a couple of things that affect the metric system related to the hash power metrics that we didn't have a control over. I can only assume that it was for the same reason they were down. So no business nodes or transactions affected. And we're looking. I think there are still a couple of things that we're looking at that we want to just double check. So thanks for your patience there. Next up, number go up. This week sponsored by the Art Lair. So there are 7 new layers created from the April LCP, the layer creation process. Humor, NFT art, amazing views, history, movies and TV shows, trading lounge, and sports betting. A bunch of really good layers. We actually, because there were 5 each from lore-based voting rank and from consensus, or just number of unique votes rank. And 15 million lot were created, which is for anyone watching that knows about everything going on in the world with NFTs and the level of interest there, that this is basically, we talk about this because this is a clear and direct demonstration of the capabilities of Dragonchain's enterprise NFT and tokenization platform, where we make it extremely scalable and low cost to create NFTs like this 15 million lot. You can only imagine if we created 15 million NFTs directly on Ethereum, what it would have cost us. I don't want to think about it. It would have taken at least, it would have taken a month probably at least. And it would have cost us a fortune. So with these though, they're created, they're usable inside the system on Den, but at any point, any owner of those NFTs, any owner of those lot can extract them, can export them, whatever word you want to use, to Ethereum and do whatever they would do on Ethereum with them. So it's kind of a best of both worlds. We can do all of the cool things. Next up, we want to show you boosting and kind of describe a little bit about it. We've gone through a couple of phases. So here's a post that Den wanted to boost, and we're doing some experimental. So you might watch, because we're going to be setting different parameters to just see how the incentives actually play out. So this was the announcement post on Den about those LCP layers that just went live, right? So they're all inside the system. I would, by the way, suggest you go subscribe to them. That's a key thing. It'll be helpful. So we go into the boost. So if you click on the boosted button anywhere, you can see the day 1, which is prorated. Let's see if, I think day 2 might have full data for what it is, maybe not. But either way, that you can see an internal versus an external boost. So the beauty of this, and if you look on day 2 internal, there were 5 matter applied. That got us pretty good ranking because there wasn't a lot of competition this early in the game for it. But what that did is basically gets this post, this content positioned so that pretty much everyone will see it, or at least everyone will see it if they scroll down far enough, depending upon where it was ranked, right? Normal thing for advertising. But two really important things, that the positioning is not solely based on the bid, on how much matter is applied. The ranking is actually based on the bid and the performance. And in this case, we have 100% performance. We got a full consensus because it was over, let's say, 13 votes. And we actually got 100% upvotes. Nobody downvoted it, right? What that does is it gives us back, minus the fee, which is 15%, it gives us back the performance return of 85% of all of the matter that we put to bear for that internal boost. Right. So if we have content that performs, we get some of that money back. It's a beautiful thing. Now, on the external side, when we first put this together, we actually would say that you don't get any of this back, right? That you basically 15% comes out for fees on the system, but the external boost means anybody who goes and shares it on LinkedIn or email or Reddit or any one of any other place that someone might click on it, you're getting a referral bonus based upon this 20 matter. So 20 matter a day going out for a referral, basically 20 bucks, something like that. And anybody can share in that by sharing this post and, getting people to engage with it. And the interesting thing about it is that because we share it ourselves, if you look at the first day, we got 96% of that matter back because everyone clicked on our link, and we had one other person, because it was only a few hours, one other person that shared it and got a click, right? So far today, we have 100% on this. So it's an interesting thing, and we think it's going to be seen as valuable because, number one, the main point of this is that the content, if you had to build an advertising system, if we can incentivize the writers of the ads to produce content that people want to see, then we're going to have a more effective ad, right? On top of the fact, it's less expensive the more quality the content is written. So anyway, that's the boosting. I think that's all the updates. So it's pretty short, right? We're going to be right back with guests after this surprise new ad.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at dragonchain.com, America's blockchain. All right. So it's hard to fit. That took us weeks to get that fit into 30 seconds, by the way. So those will both be on YouTube. They might already be. They'll be there today. So if you share any out, share those. So welcome, everyone. We have Dr. Al. We have Phil. We have Trey. Welcome back. So I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about anything for everybody? You've been introduced, right? So do you want to talk about anything else new?
Well,
love the new commercials.
Yeah.
Well, we actually got a new patent a week and a half ago.
Nice.
So,
nice.
This patent had to do with automatic configuration of protocol connectors and being able to make it so that we can automatically pre-configure pinouts in a secure environment.
Nice. Excellent. Well, I guess if you guys are okay with it, I'm gonna let's see here. I'll get straight into the topics. I'm going a little fast today. I don't know why. So just so you know, it seems like that went really fast. All right. So first up, threat of quantum computing. So this is coming up quite a bit more, especially in discussions with sales and as people are interested in digital fortress. So how do we frame this? What do you? Dr. Al, I'm looking to you because I'm like, what do we know? What do we know? What can we, I don't know what you know that I don't know even. Can you say things about known attacks, anything? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work out there, especially got started with the post-quantum environment. See, most people don't realize we're already in the post-quantum environment and attacks are being made, and they're just going to get nastier and worse. There are two main pieces of research that really get talked about. One is Shor's algorithm, the other one is Grover's algorithm. Shor's algorithm is very important because what it does is it says that any PKE, PKI that we use now that are based on certain types of trapdoor functions like the totient assumption for Euler, semi-prime factorization, and logarithm type functions are all broken. They are just toast. And so the PKE, PKI, to date, they haven't been shown because the number of qubits that's required in a quantum computer is about 6,000. But depending on who you talk to now, there's anywhere from 82 to 5,000 qubit machines that are available. And that means that pretty soon Shor's algorithm comes into play in PKE, PKI, which is one of the preferred encryption algorithms for the US government, is no longer going to be safe. It can be broken almost immediately. Now, Grover's algorithm has to do with the different types of functions. They're the symmetric key encryptions. And they say that you basically have to double your key space and your key size, basically your key size. It doesn't quite equate to double the key space. It actually is a bit more, but you have to basically double that key size in order to remain safe. And so in the quantum environment, you can still use symmetric algorithms quite effectively. But what we have now for asymmetric algorithms, not so much so. And that means that there's going to be a lot of disruption that's coming along. But one of the big fallacies is that in the post-quantum environment, you can't encrypt. And the answer is you can too. And the math is still there. The math, as we say, is the math. And you can't change the math whether you're using a quantum computer or a classical type computer. And so if you put all that together, it says that is there a threat? Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's not minimize the amount of problems that we're going to have, because as more quantum computers come online, they're going to go and try and break encryption. And if you're using PKE, PKI, elliptical curve algorithms, things like that, anything that's asymmetric, you're probably going to have trouble. And you're going to have to go back to symmetric key algorithms. Are there asymmetric algorithms that'll work? Yeah, I happen to know of one, but it takes a 1,000,000-bit key. Okay, I'm sorry, a 1,000,000-bit key is kind of big, as opposed to But with a polymorphic type encryption, it turns out that you can leverage and multiply the effective key size of symmetric key algorithms. So there are solutions out there. It's just we have to be careful. And is there a threat? Yes, there is a threat. Is the cost going to be high to ameliorate them? In some cases it will be, but there's a threat.
Okay. And Phil, Trey, you guys seeing any in the market, in calls, I mean, people that understand that threat, or I mean, are they interested solely because this vague fear, or is it just they want the best potential solution that they can find? So
yeah, well, we're fielding calls because companies being hacked for sure. I don't think that they know whether it's quantum computing or whether they just know they're getting hacked, and they know they need to get protected from that. But we had several calls last week alone of companies that knew we had the solution and were educated when they reached out. And I don't know if that's, attribute that to our channel partners, who I think are doing a great job of bringing people up to speed. It's amazing how on these calls, instead of spending the whole time educating them on what is blockchain or what are our unique features and functionality, they're more into integration and, picking out pilots and lowest hanging fruit. And that's been a real blessing and something I love. And I know if Phil loves it, on these calls. It's remarkably different now.
Yeah, it's refreshing, I think.
And by the way, and what I'm hearing, similar to Trey, what I'm hearing is, for example, a CEO of a major second largest Catholic healthcare system reached out the other day and said, can you send us information? Because they've been hacked so many times, including recently, the hacker went through a grocery store, then into the hospital, through the pharmacy. But he said, can I have information on the polymorphic RNG, the Dragonchain, the camouflage, the compression? And I told him no. I said, no, you can't, because it's going to require a face-to-face meeting, because this is too complicated, and I don't want to do a 30-second soundbite on this stuff. It really requires a very thorough discussion. And I'm also hearing that the cyber experts are throwing their arms up now, saying, everything we are doing isn't working. And what I respond to them is, at Dragonchain, you can continue your business and you can continue to be profitable, because we took the time to bring the quantum protection into our business platform that's ready for enterprises, so you could keep doing business. That's what I'm telling them.
Right. So, okay, I'm going to go to the next, if you're okay. So this was the topic basically on, I guess, what you guys have been touting as the digital fortress, right? That what that commercial was about, basically, that here's this the big picture, taking what Dr. Al has produced and what he will integrate in the future. Because even when we were building it out, he was saying, oh, we can tune this for different payload size. We can do all these various things that really help. So there's a lot there that we will be integrating. But that my goal was, okay, I'm hearing a whole bunch of repeating, that my goal was to basically get that quantum tech embedded directly into the core of Dragonchain, so that both the storage itself, right, which is a key, obviously a big piece, that at rest encryption, uses that tech, and the second part was so that we have some level of decentralization of that. That's, well, I guess, a signature based on the same tech, so that in the end, the proof that ends with Bitcoin and Ethereum, if you are subscribing to the quantum safe business node, business blockchain node, that you would have part of that quantum safe encryption and signing in your proof. So in your decentralized proof, it's I don't know, I'm really, it's a very geeky thing, but it's amazing stuff. So plugging it in that way, and we have a lot of options too, that if we have, obviously we'll have some specialized integrations that we can really apply that tech anywhere. So I don't know, it's pretty amazing. How is that playing out in the real world? Like, say, with people when we're talking about stuff, you probably can't talk about any particular integrations or anything else, but
the most recent reach outs have been larger corporations that are having trouble with their supply chains getting hacked. So retail and commodity side, and they understand that quantum, and they understand that they really need that protection. But what's bad is a lot of times they're reaching out in reaction as opposed to prevention, and that's when they're most motivated, because now they really need. But it would be nice if we could start, getting in a little earlier before they get this type of a ransomware or supply chain hacked or authenticity. They're not able to determine if their own product's their own. Those are big
inside.
problems. Yeah.
Yep, inside jobs. So yeah, those are my favorite because they're not it's always bad, but the fact that just conceptually that we can help protect or signal something that could have happened on the inside, that there's no way for your inside guy to actually affect some of this. So it's pretty neat, right? Okay. Anything else on, let's see. Okay. I'm going to throw up the capabilities comparison because this ties in and is quantum across the way. I'm going to throw it up here. Okay, so it's not showing for me. Why is it not showing? Is it showing for you guys?
Nope.
One way or another. I can swear I can see it in there. Maybe we'll ask Blake. I'll skip that one. We'll go to the next thing. We'll show that when it pops up. Let's see here. Interoperability with legacy systems and government networks. So this would be the side of, in my opinion, making this business friendly, right? It's like say I have normal systems, that I have enterprise systems that could be accounting, they could be HR, they could be supply chain, it could be my SAP system, they could be anything under the sun, even my e-commerce systems, right? That I can plug in both the blockchain tech, which was our original vision, that we could take any system and make it blockchain friendly, or I guess more importantly, leverage blockchain in a business friendly way. That you might come in and what we really want, that the goal was that your system can run, that you can get this decentralized proof applied, yet your customers don't even know there's a blockchain behind it. In fact, you might not even tell them. You might not tell them until it matters, right? That, hey, we have this here. We can prove that we didn't cheat you. We can prove that, your identity was erased from our system because of, a GDPR or CCPA requirement. That type of stuff is beautiful because the business can actually use the tech without worrying about the dogmatic side of, it has to be fully decentralized and I don't want to expose because you get into some of the stuff that a lot of the other blockchains will bring up, and you end up with a very dogmatic approach that means a business will never adopt, right? And that was very key to us way back, that it's like, well, yeah, we could go full on decentralization, but no business will ever use that, right? For what we would want them to use it for. Sure, you'll get games, you'll get silly things. You might get very niche products, but you aren't going to get, something that actually affects the real world. So, what do you guys think? I mean, I talk too much, right? So.
I don't know. Actually, we took the same approach behind the blockchain, so that it's ubiquitous and can be put in, and now people don't have to worry about the security that's involved with blockchain too. Right. In fact, we noticed it was pretty much drop in. We changed which algorithm we're using. We had some specific things to understand. How we use, how we integrate, but. We've been very impressed. I mean, it was very, very simple for us, right, to plug it in. So, and right now so everybody knows we're going through all of the levels of, it's testing, it's integration testing, it's making sure that everything is running as we think it is, and we have more to do there, but it works, it's running. Everything's pretty, I'm impressed with it. So I'm happy with Dr. Al. Your team's been amazing. So, been very helpful. Okay. I'll go now. Since Blake is back, I'm going to go to capabilities comparison. For some reason, there we go. Beautiful. See, he can do it. I can't do it. So capabilities comparison, I'm going to drop this off so you can see it. So one way or another, this is very much focused. It's not focused on the cryptocurrency and crypto Twitter side of things. We're not going to compare ourselves to Dogecoin or Nevertron.
But this is, very much the enterprise side. These are the people who are selling to enterprises blockchain. And as you can see, it's IBM, it's Accenture, and they were already had their foot in the door. And you could critique their angle, but it's totally understandable the direction that they went with these platforms. That you have an enterprise, you want private, right? And it was just always kind of interesting to me that they didn't really think about leveraging the actual hash power of Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? And everything else for that matter. So one way or another, you look at the classifications, most of them are private or not a blockchain, theoretically, or I guess technically. We very much are, everything's a blockchain in our world. We have every single verification node has its own blockchain. So interesting stuff there. The hybrid, though, led to everything else being flexible, being more powerful, because we can, for smart contracts, as an example, we can actually, it's Docker based, so you can execute anything that you could run on a Linux or Unix box. That our consensus protocol, I don't probably go into that; it'd take too long. But it's native hybrid consensus. I mean, and it's very business focused. Interop, the same thing. That because we are hybrid, interop becomes extremely simple. I mean, it's simple to the point that sometimes it's hard to describe to people because they're expecting some very technical, elaborate explanation that isn't there. For us, it is literally software. Everything's a RESTful interface. Since you can code in a full language, you can plug in any other system. So for us, it's just you've integrated systems before. Have at it. That the scalability, we've proven that out pretty intensely. Some interesting things about block time. We have fixed block time, which is unique. We have selective transparency. Maybe this is boring. I don't know if I should have shown this. Just read through the whole thing.
No, I love it though.
But importantly for this conversation, quantum safe. That's something that really popped up and really, frankly, happened faster than I expected. Is the threat of and the opportunity with AQUED to actually bring this tech in and plug it in at the core layer. And this is an add-on, right? That you can come and use Dragonchain without it, because this is very special purpose implementation. But I should say it's general purpose, but it's something that you don't necessarily need everywhere, because this thing is massively more powerful. It's powerful at the mathematical level instead of just the architectural level. Anyway. So that's there. The integrations, and we will be building case studies as we actually deploy systems with the quantum safe encryption and signing. That it will be very interesting, because I happen to think we're still going to have the same results, or at least the same measure for time to market that we've had with the traditional Dragonchain systems, which is days or weeks. We're not talking about, here's a project it's going to take you 2 years to build out, that you can actually get stuff on chain this afternoon if you want. It's very fast. Now, you do something more complex, or you do something that is an integration with a couple of very complex systems. It might take you months, because there's complexity in software. Software is not easy, right? By itself. So this is just the added approach. Okay, now you can take what you're already doing in software and you can now plug in the proof. So, and it goes beyond that, but if you start there, you get transparency, you get proof. All of a sudden you can start applying that data and those that system state to other things like loyalty or incentives inside your org, or whatever might make sense there. But there's some really amazing things once the data is there. So deployment options. Okay, we've talked about that a lot. And focus, in the end, I think the whole thing comes down to focus or philosophy, right? That from the beginning, we took some very clear philosophical approaches to blockchain and using it in business. That was very much about proving reality, about compliance, about interop, about flexibility in the end, right? That any software system that isn't flexible is doomed, right? It's going to fall over at some point. You might be able to recover from it, but you need software to be flexible if you want it to just keep running. And that was our biggest focus, because if we have flexibility, we have ease of integration, we have things that the developers already know, they're going to build on it in the end. So for us, it was about positioning and then communications and then waiting. So anyway, do you guys have any comments in this? That was boring. That was all me going through that. But what do you think? I don't know if anybody else is looking, or in the old days, I will tell you, old days, a couple of years ago, we would have a lot of people come in saying, oh, well, how does this compare to X, right? And it was always typically one of these. Sometimes it was something not on this list, but it was always this issue that we had to re-educate, right? I mean, people read, back in the day, they used to read Cointelegraph, CoinDesk. I used to. Right. But now they're all paid ads pretty much. So maybe I shouldn't say that, make a whole bunch of enemies, but either way, that it was really rough, because we would say, well, we have these new capabilities that no one else is looking at, but we had to start from scratch every conversation. So our first call was always very draining, because you'd have to say, well, no, that's not an absolute, right? That they would typically come in with assumptions that they thought were absolutes, that there's no way you could do X. That's not what blockchain is, right? And all of these things. And we're like, blockchain software, right? So
yeah, I do it.
Yeah.
I want to say something. I really love this matrix, and it's helped us out significantly, Trey and I, on the front lines a lot. Matter of fact, it kind of completely diffuses the other side, because they see these matrix columns, the columns here. And it's right out there for debate. You can look at it. But the other thing this matrix leads us into a discussion on your point earlier. I'm feeling kind of chatty today, by the way. So the point about we took AQUED, we took Dr. Al's stuff, and people don't appreciate this, and it's embedded into the Dragonchain. It's like part of the same DNA. So we literally can say to a customer, here it is. That's why I say to people, Dragonchain is fun to use, because it's one of the few technologies you can use and never have any problems, and have quantum protection on top of all of this functionality in the matrix. I think it's amazing myself.
Yeah, see, one of the big things is people normally put security on, they bolt it on afterwards.
Yeah.
Which means that it's terribly positioned, and it doesn't work right, and it tends not to be easy to use, and it takes forever to get on. But that's not the case here. It's built with security in mind, and so it works much better and it's much stronger.
Right. That's absolutely true. I've been on a few projects for like say IoT, consumer electronics, and medical, and it was always frustrating to me, because I was a Linux guy, and I really wanted to focus on security, and I was just always amazed that most of those projects, for a lot of the things you have running in your house, security was like, say, the last month of the project. They're just like, oh crap, we need to do X. This is going to be connected to the internet, and
that's if it's put on at all.
Yeah. So some of it's scary, right? Some of that stuff, and hopefully it'll be limited. Hopefully it's just your toaster, right? And you might get burnt toast or something. But more often it's going to be your freaking webcam or your TV. Well, we know your TV, right? So, and therefore, that's just scary stuff. There can't all the sensors built in there, right? What Nest had extra sensors they didn't advertise for a while, I think. I might be wrong about that. I just remember something about it. I was like, oh, I remembered thinking, what is that hole there for, right? It's like, it has to be a mic or something. Why is there a mic on this thing? Anyway, that's all happening.
Nowadays, if you have a computer and you have any sensors at all, you have a security risk. And speaking to the sensors, can and overriding sensors can be very interesting. For example, like I said, the toaster, right? What if you shut off the pop-up and say, I want it really dark? Then you get the situation that happens in our house. The toast catches fire, and we're trying not to burn down the house.
Mm-hmm. There are ways. There are always ways, right? So, okay. So I went through that. Sorry if that was boring to everybody. But it's like that matrix we had always, and it by the way, if anybody from R3 said that's entirely incorrect, the XYZ, ping us. We actually, I believe we have the source for all the data, but the funniest thing about putting that together, and we actually want to put one together for the more consumer directed cryptocurrencies, the things that crypto Twitter speculates on. But I will tell you, for these and for especially the other ones, it's really hard to get definitive information in those classes, right? We can find, okay, here's what the typical block time is and what the total supply is, the things that you can report on CoinGecko or other places, but to get the real performance is, and with proof in particular, that it's hard to find that info. It's like most projects don't publicize it. I'm like, okay, I understand it's hard running crypto project. It's hard to, there's a lot to deal with, but anyway, that's interesting to me. Okay, the last topic, and we can throw in anything else you guys want to, but the sales update. So we want to start getting this in because it's very interesting to everybody who's interested in Dragonchain, but I think it's also interesting from just a general blockchain perspective, because if you're a Litecoin fan, if you're a fan of any crypto, adoption is something that, especially early on, that everybody knows that adoption is king, and yet we haven't had any real signs of mass adoption. We've had Bitcoin is doing really good. There's other projects. Bitcoin Cash is actually making good strides, but a lot of projects are just building for the future, right? And we support all blockchain projects because that's half of our goal. Is that let's say an enterprise comes in and says, hey, we really need decentralized storage. We want to be able, and that's why we built what we built. To we can plug in any project. So, what do you think, Trey?
Well, Phil and I had a great week. We had 6 new sales reps added, so we're up to 69 now. And then we had, like I said earlier, had several Fortune 50s reach out this last week. One of them was referred through a channel partner who sent a consultant that was representing a couple Fortune 50s. So that's that's always great. And part of what they're asking for is the quantum solution, the quantum encryption, but also supply chain has been a big piece lately. The carbon footprint tracking, as well as the carbon credits, that's also been getting some. I think that's LinkedIn has actually driven some of that interest, and that's energies and commodities. Also just retail supply chain. Couple school districts this week reaching out, interested in the identity and the learning management system, as well as the quantum encryption. So that's awesome. Trying to think, we're up to. I was doing some math with Phil this week. We're up to 12 pilots that we have going right now that are being built out. That kind of snuck up on us. I didn't realize there was that many till I sat down and started realizing what all we have going on. India is really busy. Raj Kapoor over there has got a couple projects for us. I think 3 actually. And then we have 21 channel partners now. So that's high level AQUID type people, Guardian Global, Energies, people that are sending quality projects our way and doing a really great job of educating them prior to dropping them off us in our hands. So like I said earlier,
Right.
that's been a real treat to have people that know how unique our architecture is and already understand the features and functionality, and it's not starting at step one. And so that's been great. But Phil, didn't you do some numbers on the percentage increase that we had
Sure.
recently?
Yeah, yeah, we did. I think this number is low. I've been thinking about it, Trey. I think this number is low, but number of actual clients increased by 2,400%. So I didn't have Dr. Allen to call to double check our math, but I think it's I think it's low. So we'll just stick with the conservative number. So clients onboarded 2,400% in the last 6 months, which is kind of a big deal. And I know AWS and I know Microsoft and I know Google and Cisco's watching the show right now. So, I mean, these are big numbers, 2,400% growth. And also, like Trey mentioned, we're having these really big companies reach out to us. And that's kind of, first it's kind of weird because, Trey and I have been chasing, like rabid dogs. And now we got really big companies picking up the phone and calling us. And then also, this doesn't include our pipeline. And even if some of our pipeline becomes clients, I did some math this morning. We could be at 10,000% by midsummer, but that's, not our whole pipeline because we got government in our pipeline. We have big companies in our pipeline that have big, giant networks. So I don't even know how to put my finger on that number. So big numbers, a lot of adoption. On a relative perspective, we're at mass adoption right now, as far as I'm concerned.
We're hitting critical mass for sure. But what I think is interesting too is it's not just on this continent. We're getting larger projects that are multi-vendor, multi-party, and that's great to see that the word's getting out.
Yeah, and another thing is Trey and I were on this call. Well, I was on 10 calls. Trey was probably on 12 or 15. Who knows? But one of our calls yesterday, we had 3 people. There was me and Trey plus 3 people. Mm-hmm. And Trey went through all the Dragonchain slides. And it was one of these weird deals where, for some reason, Trey was extra on his game. So when he got to the last sentence on the last page, he basically said, "The end." The 3 people on the screen, they sat there with their mouth open like this. I'm not kidding you. But the 3 people stood there like a deer looking in the headlights. And they said, "We don't even know what to say. This is amazing." Yeah. And that's how our phone calls end up. They can't even get their brain around that we got the quantum stuff married into Dragonchain, all this stuff, the hybrid, it's unlimited scalability, the interchain, the list just goes on and on. They didn't know what to say to us at that point.
And the interoperability is really becoming a huge key too. We have a couple projects we're taking over right now where they had a pilot with someone else and then they got down the road and they realized, oh, well, we can't do that piece, well, maybe we could bring in someone else. And it's like, how many multi-party projects do you want instead of just starting with one project with one company that can do it all, and that's what is neat to see where they're realizing they hit a dead end and that company didn't have a solution. So like, well, who does? And then the word's getting out. They're like, well, we heard Dragonchain does, and then they reach out and they figure out, well, you really can do that inherently. You don't have to get a 6-month extension and build a bridge and want another couple $100,000. You can do it this weekend, and that's a shock to a lot of people.
Right. And I'll tell you something from my side that's been from the beginning, I've been tracking this. And in fact, there were some things early on that I wanted to do that we didn't have the time to do, in 2018 that, it's like we really wanted to focus on a couple of things that might have extenuated some of this. But what I've been watching is the fact that, I realized early on, it was really hard to communicate some of these concepts. It's very abstract. You have to get people in the right frame of mind. It depends on, if it's the top brass at a company versus the developers, right? It's a different messaging. But that I think it's key that we've been trying to hit that sweet spot for years now, right? And it's, we refine, we go and we try it, we get feedback, we refine, we go and we keep doing this over and over again. And the team that we have marketing right now is, I think, killing it. They're unbelievable. They can do stuff without me really, take it. I can jump in and say, oh, I prefer this word over that word, right? I'm very picky about some stuff like that, but it's amazing because, I mean, we've had a couple of the articles that even in industries that weren't targeted, that have caused some of those big Fortune 50 companies to call us, that they see this article about a different industry. And it's like, I think I could use that in my industry with my data. And then they call us. And it's amazing to me because, and then when you get on, we're able to say, okay, you want to know about X? Here's our vision about X. Here's what you can do. Here's what we think you should do. Here are all these the things you might care about. And it's ringing, it's just hitting the target right now. And it's really amazing because that's when you get the people thinking, holy crap, they, a lot of times that we're hitting their list of priorities that they've independently come up with. And that's what I've been trying to get to for a long time, because if you can communicate that, then, and we have the platform to back it up. And, it's, I don't know, it's super interesting to me. So, yeah, you guys have been killing it. So, is our goal 100? Are we trying to hit 100 sales reps?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Well,
Just don't let any of them go.
With Akewood, we're already there,
Oh, yeah, true. We don't count direct. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yep. Yeah, they have a lot already. So, yeah, that's great. Anyway, I don't know. It's huge, and it's really exciting because when we get in there, there's so many options for them to build on Dragonchain that, they might need, this system needs to be quantum safe. This over here, we're going to expose it. They don't want it encrypted or who knows what. But the beauty is they can kind of do whatever they want there, and their own devs can do it, right? They don't have to hire out Solidity devs or anything else. So,
and we can connect all their disparate and siloed networks at the same time, and they don't have to abandon their legacy system. That's huge, and that relieves a lot of the fear, because they think, how much is it going to cost me? How long is it going to take? I put so much money in this, and it's like, well, we're just going to bolt right on top and increase the features and functionality and security.
Yep. Just like it's glue, you can make it glue code. That's one of the things that I'm seeing more and more of, where people are wanting to tie two different systems together, or to tie a new system into a system that there's no way they're ever going to replace it, right? It's been running for 40 years or whatever. The ability to plug those together and maintain and manage state of all that data is, I don't know, that's amazing to me. I love fail-safe systems. I love systems that just never stop, right? That's always when I was a pure developer, that's what I loved to work on. Boring systems otherwise, but I have a couple of systems that have been running since the early 90s, 24/7. I occasionally get a call because they've deployed to, in fact, there's one, they deployed to AWS, and they have something with credentials they need, right? It's not my part of the system. It's, something with the way it's deployed. So anyway, do we have anything else? I'm like, I'm done with topics. You guys want to talk about anything else?
You know what I always want to talk about.
Uh-oh. I mean, you know what I should say? I should say this because it's part of the sales update. I always tell the guys to control expectations, right? So I part of that, it's funny because once we have the communications down, I don't know, what's coming is going to be really interesting, right? So, the real adoption cycle I think it'll even be interesting from the perspective of the crypto Twitter side, that a lot of those people are like, wait a minute, this is what we were talking about, but we hate Dragonchain. So how is this possible? Sorry. Anyway, yeah, what were you going to talk about, Dr. Al?
Oh, I was going to show my beautiful pictures.
This is right.
Oh yeah, the
Sorry,
demo.
Steve. Thank you. Yeah, can you share that?
I can
We will.
share.
Yes, a demo. So sorry, I'm the worst host ever.
Well, we're always doing interesting things. One of the things that I wanted to show people was how polymorphic encryption works, because it's interesting that when people look at crypto demos, it's like watching grass grow. It is boring,
Yeah.
right? And it's hard to show all of the things that you want to show. So one of the things that we came up with at Aquid, and this is part of what we're working on, is to show how the encryption normally works. So what we did was we took an original image that you can see here. At least I hope you can see it.
Yes.
I can't see you, but this was just a dumb image. Now, a long time ago, there was a gentleman by the name of Horst Feistel who worked for IBM, and he said in 1973 in Scientific American that at their heart, all encryptions are substitution ciphers. Now, one of the problems with substitution ciphers is that they bleed data about patterns. And it's easy for people to take a look at a picture and see the patterns in a picture. That's why we did it this way. So we went ahead and showed what happens if you use a substitution cipher, and on the information, and we just did a general substitution cipher. And if you look at the substitution cipher and you show it as a picture again, you can see all of the things, the elements in there. You can see the lines. They're a little bigger, that's okay. But you can see the same image here. And this is what a substitution cipher generally does. Now, if you look at text is going to show the same kind of patterns. The image will be a little more interesting. You can see words, you can see spaces, you can see things that tell you about that file and help you decrypt it. But a lot of people went, oh, well, we have an answer to that. We'll use a permutation where we mix up the bits. Well, guess what? The permutation cipher looks an awful lot like the substitution cipher, doesn't it? You can still see the images that are in there. And that's because if you make the right assumption, known as the meta-character assumption, you can show that it's just a substitution cipher, even if you do this in block substitution or block permutation. Well, a lot of people said, okay, we've got AES. AES is the big, strong encryption. There's AES, as you can see, with what's called the electronic cipherbook mode, which means that they don't randomize things with CBC. And as you can see, once again, you can see the edges here. Here's the wrench. Here's the calculator. You can see it. Well, because AES needed randomization, and anytime you need randomization, you know that the patterns are there, right? That's AES with cipher block chaining mode. Okay. Now, you can see quite a bit less of the patterns because it does a generally good job of taking it out. You can see just a little bit of the edges right in here and up into there. But in general, it's been very, very good at hiding this. But they have to have a special routine to randomize things. Now, back about 2015, I did a lecture at DEF CON about how to attack CBC with the side channel attack, and you can extract the video image without even having, or any image or the information without even having to attack AES. And so that's, while the mix is good, and what you really want to see here is you want to see a lack of patterns bleeding through. But like I said, in this case, we know that CBC is vulnerable. Well, I'm not sure if he's doctor, but Dave McGrew did work on this, as did I, around the same time, and we came to the same conclusions about that. So let's take a look at our encryption here. You take a look at this and sort of visually look at this against AES with CBC. you'll see that the clumping, there's quite a bit less clumping, and it's more random in there. And this is the kind of mixing that we get with polymorphic encryption, especially with the polymorphic random number generators behind it. And you'll see that it's quite a bit more vibrant as well. But the patterns aren't there. There are no patterns that you can see at all. And so this particular demonstration is meant to show how polymorphic encryption can be compared against substitution permutation AES without randomization and AES with randomization. And this is the kind of, I hope I'm going to get back to,
Yes, yeah, you're there. You're good. You're good.
Oh, okay. The problem is I'm having a lot of, it went away, but it left it up on my screen and I couldn't see anybody there. I was going, what did I do? I broke the system.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. But that's a demonstration of the kind of encryption that's going behind now into Dragonchain.
And it's a great demonstration because it's visual, so you can actually see it versus if it is text, it would be the same thing, but
yeah,
you wouldn't be able to see it.
It would look very similar, but the pictures make it a little easier to see. And this is just one of the improvements that we're putting into Dragonchain right now to make it safer. And let me tell you, we've got so many more improvements in different areas. Like right now, so I'm going to take a couple minutes. We've got to think a couple minutes. Our polymorphic random number generator we're using, but there's still problems with random number generators that aren't truly random. Now, how do we fix that? We fix this by decoupling the random number generator from the information that it produces. And we're using physically unclonable functions with this. These are functions that happen behind in the hardware, behind the scenes that you can't see. And because of minute variations in manufacturing, every computer has its own physically unclonable functions on the computer. So what we do is we take the physically unclonable function, and we found a methodology for taking the information, the table, the identification there, and changing it to another set of tables that have the same statistics but not the same content. Okay, so that means that we can take the random number generators and point into these tables and use them for a short time, and then jump to a new table and reconfigure the old table with new data with the same characteristics, and use it over and over and over again so that it's impossible to pattern the physically unclonable functions on your computer. And even if you were able to break the polymorphic random number generators, which are based on Jeffy generators, which have some really astounding characteristics, and they're real fun. We do real dirty things with that because, I'm just that kind of guy. I told Joe I was going to make him laugh. I finally did.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Yeah, but we can take these together and we can decouple the information that's being seen from the information that's being used, but yet at the same time, we can keep it in sync at both communicating nodes that we're working with. So we can do this on the back of blockchain. This is a relatively new advancement that I just started discussing with Phil and with Joe. So, this is just to give you a little bit of appetite whetting, because I've got lots more. I'm just
yes. Save some for next week. So. Yeah. And so, I think you guys are all back next week. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember what you guys have set up, but yeah, definitely. Okay, I know Dr. Owl was definitely back next week, so I imagine everybody is. So that's everything for today. Thanks for joining. Make sure you like and subscribe and all the things you're supposed to do wherever you're watching. Really appreciate everybody who comes on, even after the fact, and follow Dragonchain Gang, follow Real Denizens, follow me, Jojo Rowe, and that's on Twitter, LinkedIn, and most other places. And how about you guys? Do you guys want to say where everybody can follow you real quick, and then we can?
Sure. I'm Untamed on Den. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I'm on LinkedIn. Just look for Albert H. Carlson on LinkedIn.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn too, and on Twitter, and I'm easy to find.
And Den. Don't forget about Den.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody's going to be on Den at some point, but it's very early. It's very good. So thanks a bunch for coming on, and hopefully I was decent as a host. And we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, and I think we're playing at least another commercial again for anybody who didn't see the beginning. So I can't remember one. So. Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.